Hello, everyone, and today I'm gonna talk to you about the SSH command along with certain other network commands. Uh, so, what is SSH? SSH is basically it's a protocol used to establish a secure connection from your local machine to a remote machine. And you're basically logging into that remote machine. Once if you start an SSH session to that remote machine, it'll prompt you for a password. And once you type in the password and the connection is successful, you're basically able to access their shell, their terminal, and it'll allow you to also execute once that connection has been established. You'll be able to execute commands on that remote machine. Now, side note, disclaimer here: uh, not every command may work on during the SSH sessions. For example, the remote machine could have some security restrictions that prevent you from creating a file on there, for example. It all depends on what machine you're trying to, connect to. Uh, so in order to do an SSH session, you need a few things. You need the username. Uh, for example, right now I'm logged in as the user Antlad. So username at hostname. Now, you can basically think of hostname as their IP address. IP address basically, think about your address of your house and your neighborhood. It's basically tells your machine where to find that remote machine. Okay. So right now I'm logged in into Kali Linux. I also have another machine here. This is my Ubuntu virtual machine. Ubuntu is another Debian-based Linux system such as Kali. So the if I connect to this machine, this Ubuntu machine, then the commands are going to be the same essentially as my Kali machine. Uh, so, but in order for me to connect to this machine, well, I already know the username. I see the username right here, Hassam. Okay. Now, what about the IP address? To find the IP address, you can type this command, IPA. If you do IPA, it'll list the IP address of that machine. So this is the IP address. Now, let me go back to Kali. Uh, Before I even do the SSH command, uh, there's another command I want to talk to you about is the ping command. So the ping command is basically a convenient way of uh, figuring out whether your machine and another machine are able to communicate with each other. So when I was at the Ubuntu machine, I found out that this was the IP of that machine. I could go back to Kali and then I could do ping and then write the IP of that whatever it is whatever machine I want to ping to. So if I do ping and then 192.168.1.233, the IP of the Ubuntu machine, this is if I keep getting a response, that means yes, I'm able to communicate with that machine. And you can just do Control C to exit out of this. Okay. Uh, so my goal is to do an SSH session to this machine. Now, one thing to note: before I can establish an SSH session to this machine actually has to have an SSH service running on it. So SSH is actually it's a service. It's if there is no SSH server up, then I can't really connect to this machine with the SSH. So one way to see if SSH is even running on this machine is this command, systemctl. This is a way to manage and see the details of services. So if I want, if I can do this command, systemctl status. This will tell me if that service is running. If I do systemctl status SSH, uh, it's not active right now. Essentially, uh, I can sorry. Oh, my machine is stuck for some reason. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna close my terminal and uh, restart my terminal. Sorry about that. Uh, okay. In order for me to start the SSH service, I could do this command: systemctl start SSH. Uh, this is just gonna ask me for a password, and so I've started SSH. I'm just gonna check the status of it. Now I can see that SSH is actually running on this machine. And I know the IP address, I saw it earlier, and I know the username. So now I should be able to establish an SSH session. So I can do this command, SSH, and followed by the username, which is going to be Hassam, at the IP address of the machine I want to connect to, which is this 192.168.1.233. And once I try to establish this session, it's gonna ask me for this username, this user's password, Hassam's password. Uh, well, that's actually my machine, so I know already what the password is. But so so yeah, this basically means that the SSH connection was successful. I'm now logged in as this user, and now I'm able to access their terminal, their shell. Now, if I can execute commands on here, if I just do, for example, the ls command, this will tell me, this will list the contents of the directory that I'm in. Uh, so I'm gonna go to the desktop directory. I'm gonna do ls again. Now I can see more stuff here. In order to, okay, so that's just to demonstrate the SSH connection. In order to exit out of the SSH session, just write down exit. Now, next command is actually a type of SSH command. It's called SCP. So this command lets me copy files between hosts. So copy a file, let's say from this host to the remote host, or even from the remote host to this host. Uh, let's say I want to copy this file past. I don't know if you can see it. I have this file here called pass.txt. Okay, if I want, let's say I want to copy this file at pass.txt to the Ubuntu machine. So I'm gonna do SCP, and then you have to actually write the name of the remote user. I already know the username. It's Hassam, at the IP address of that remote user, which is 192.168 and then 233. And then there's going to be a double colon followed by a slash, and then I actually have to specify the. Oh, sorry. One thing I forgot. I forgot to actually write what it is that I'm sending. SCP followed by the name of the file that I'm sending, and then the remote user's username followed by their IP 192.168.233 double colon slash, and then I'm going to list the exact directory that I'm sending this file to. So I'm gonna send it to their desktop. I'm gonna write the full absolute path, and it's gonna ask me for the password of that user, and that this file pass.txt has been sent to that remote user. Now, if I want to copy a file from that remote user to my local machine, I could also do the SCP command like this. I could do SCP connect to that remote user, so their username, and then followed by their IP address. and then a double colon, and then slash, and then I'm just gonna write the full absolute path. I already know what file I want, so I'm going to write the full absolute path. So file is called lol.txt, and so this is specifying the full path of where that file is. Now I'm going to transfer it over to my desktop. Let's say like this. So this command is going to take this file from that remote machine and transfer it to my desktop. And it's just gonna ask me for their password again. And if I don't know if you can see it, it just appeared on my desktop. Now there's a file called lol.txt. It wasn't there before. Okay, for the scp command, I have to know the full specific path of that remote machine where specific files are. If I want to copy something from there to here. I could also, if you don't know the actual path, you could do the sftp command. This is a subdivision of the ssh command, and this actually provides a interactive session. It'll actually let you do ls on that remote machine, see what the contents of the directory are, for example. So if I do sftp and then just the name of the remote user followed by their IP address, it's going to prompt me for a password. And now I'm actually connected to that remote user. If I do ls here, I can see the contents of their home directory. I'm gonna go to their desktop, so I'm gonna do cd desktop, and if I do ls here, now I can see the contents of their desktop. I don't know. Let's say I want to copy this file back, lol.txt. I want to copy this file again. I know I just copied it, so I'm gonna delete it from my desktop. I'm gonna copy lol.txt again. So to do that, I can just write get, and then the name of that file. So now I fetched lol.txt. It's in my desktop now. I don't know if you can see it here. You could also put something from your machine to that remote machine. I'm gonna try it with this. I'm just gonna try putting the pass.txt file, uploading, and it's showing me that it's been uploaded to that remote machine. So that's so the two commands are put and get. Get is how you get a file from that remote machine to your machine. Put is how you put a file from your local machine to that remote machine. So SFTP it's easier to use than the SCP command. I'm just gonna exit out of this, and one final command I'd like to show you is the apt command. So this is good to install things. It's a package manager. So if I want to install something, let's say I don't have SSH on my computer, I can do apt install SSH. Could not open file. Okay, I'm gonna try sudo. Okay, I'm gonna actually switch users. Okay, now I'm gonna try the apt command again. Apt install SSH, and it's gonna ask me for the password, and it's gonna ask me, do I want to continue with this? I'm gonna say yes. Now I already have SSH installed on this computer, so this isn't really gonna do anything. But yeah, that's just an example of how that's done. Okay, all right.